Moving on to our next speaker, again, a very kind sponsor of today's event. We're joined by Miguel Ponce de Leon, I hope I pronounced that correctly, from TSSG. The TSSG is a Centre of Excellence for ICT Research based in Waterford on the IT campus. You're very welcome, Miguel. We haven't met in person virtually to date, but I'm really looking forward to making a trip down to visit you when all of this has moved on and we're in recovery mode.
Of course, Bernie, and you know it's reciprocal as well. Getting up to Laois is obviously quite important for me, and I mean I have been a number of times, as I'll give as part of the presentation, a little overview of my time of working with ESB networks in Port Laois and being part of the training centre and actually helping to bring people in from Europe to look at the things that are happening in Burnwood. Some very interesting trials happening in Port Laois around renewable energies and everything. So, and of course, the invite for you to come down here to Waterford as well is always there.
And it's only down the road. We're in the same region, so really it's all about collaboration.
Exactly. But I mean, we've certainly connected over the last number of months, right? Even though it's been virtual.
Absolutely.
You'll never say it's easy, but look, it is possible, you know.
It's not quite the same. And you did showcase a great video there last week as a taster, and really it got me really curious about what you actually do. I'm really looking forward to hearing your presentation today. And again, if anyone has any questions for Miguel, please enter them into the chat box. So I'll let you take it away there, Miguel.
Thank you very much, Bernie. And as always, looking for my presentation, right? Their technology into the market. We have one example being Feed Henry, and I'll give a little case study at the end as well. So just to give you some idea of the numbers, I mean, all the activities that we look at is always by competitive tender, by the way. So it means that we always look to do contracts with government agencies, government funding both from Ireland and from Europe, currently called Horizon 20 or going towards Horizon Europe. We have 80 dedicated staff to interact with your companies in Laois. We've completed over 300 projects with industry, and we have about 750 partners across the globe. I'll explain that in a minute, but you know, it's not possible for the TSSG to know everything and have all capacities to look at innovation around software. And so a big part of, again, my role is to be able to link you with the right people, whether they're be in Cork, Kerry, up in Donegal, or if they happen to be across Europe, heading towards France, Sweden, Italy, and further east. We certainly have the connections to be able to help you there. And of course, a big part, and you'll see it across the bottom line there, you know, 150 plus peer review publications. A big part is being able to bring research knowledge that we've gained access to and to be able to share it with you here in Laois. And just to give you some idea of the focus areas that we look at. So networks and clouds, so very much we hear about the word about cloud, but what we help companies with is being able to get an understanding of what it means to maybe transition from running a computer and a server in your office underneath a desk somewhere, to be able to move that application, move that software into a cloud service and run that efficiently in a cloud service and from a cost-effective perspective. We also help companies with their mobile and IoT, which is for Internet of Things, so be able to connect small devices and small sensors and be able to display that on mobile and mobile applications. Communication services that are looking at real-time communications, the movement of data in real time across factory floors and being able to take actions based on that data. And again, helping people with software in that area. We do help companies and especially startups when it comes to services engineering. And this is about architecting new ideas. So you have a business idea, but you may not necessarily have the right technical skills to bring it forward. And what we help with here in the TSSG is essentially giving you kind of access to architects that will help you design and be able to start the early prototyping of that technology. As said earlier, we have a virtual reality and augmented reality. In actual fact, we've just, by the help of Enterprise Ireland, brought a new, what we call a mixed reality lab, where companies can gain access to the latest technology. They can essentially rent it from us You can take it on loan for a little while. You can come down to facilities when it becomes available and when we open up a little bit more. But we have like a treadmill that people can stand in, put on the virtual glasses and move into virtual spaces. And you can test your applications and test your ideas with us, which is a big part of what we offer, Bernie. And machine learning, data mining, and artificial intelligence, a big part is being able to make predictive analytics around the data that you already have. So whether it's from the shopping information that you may have within your shop, whether it's sensor information that's coming in from your factory floors, it's been able to make predictions of what may happen in the future. And we have a number of members of team that work in that area. What we also have available, would you believe, is one of Ireland's largest high-performance computer is available in Waterford. 665 teraflops. Now, if I was to go into the fine details of that, it's large, it's fairly big. But of course, you can use it for big data crunching, but even from the smallest Docker container, so the smallest web application, this is what we help companies be able to get understanding and be able to trial it for the first time. And so we have the infrastructure in order to help companies be able to do that. So just to get a little bit more detail again about the TSSG, we are what's called a technology gateway funded from Enterprise Ireland, and we are one of 15 gateways dotted across Ireland. Our specific focus is around mobile services and the activities I've just mentioned a second ago, but there are activities out of the command center in Athlone, in Kerry, the IMAR group look at intelligent manufacturing. We have the team in Kappa in Cork and also Nimbus looking at embedded systems. And it's not all just about software, by the way. We have polymer technology. We have an entity that looks at engineering materials and SEAM. If you're looking at pharmaceutical and healthcare, PMRBC down in Waterford, again, going west towards the applied biotechnology with Shannon ABC. And again, one of my roles is if your technology is outside of software, I can still help you potentially connect with a number of entities across Ireland to be able to work with you. And again, we support startups. So even you as a sole trader at the moment, and you're thinking of getting your company going, micro SMEs that are underway for the last 6 months or 3 years, and scaling SMEs that are looking at being a high potential startup. We do a number of projects with multinationals. You've seen some of the logos earlier. Connectivity-wise, again, we've been building a very significant pan-European innovation hub, which means we're linked with a lot of entities across the UK and then across into, as I mentioned, France, Germany. And a good example, just to say, again, I mentioned Portlaoise a second ago, but I've done a project with ESB Networks where we've been involved in and around renewable energies and adding renewable energies to the core grid and keeping the grid stable. And we've brought partners in from Italy and Germany and Sweden, and they've come to Portlaoise and they've had a little look at how you connect and add sensors to solar panel installs and how they connect to the substations. And that's been a great interactive, we'll say, collaboration over the last 3 to 4 years. And again, what we help with is being able to help you and your company in Laois to reach out towards Europe if you so need. This just gives you an indication of some of the partners that we've done significant projects with over the last 15 years. Okay, I'm going to just cover maybe a little bit, hopefully get a little bit clearer about what I can help you with and with your company with here. So, one of the big things is about industrial engagement, because I talk about innovation, I talk about research, and please don't be afraid with those words, because part of my role is to be able to translate the business concepts and what's happening on your business side to the types of technology that you could gain access to. And to be able to essentially link that with what way you could build out your product. So I do that as well with industry engagement, looking at a number of incubation centers, accelerator programs across Ireland. There's many clustering events, and I participate in a number of tech meetups, both originated from Cork to Dublin to Galway, and we interact obviously remotely as we do here today. Very much my job is to help ask questions of both your business and the technology you want to either add to your business or even change a product that you may already have. It's about interacting but always making sure that there are strategic goals that meet your business needs. Again, for me, the win-win-win, it's a win for you, a win for the gateway, and also for the researcher that you're going to interact with. And that's a big part of what I do. So again, hopefully you're getting a sense that there's a large portfolio of knowledge that we have here in the TSSG that you can gain access to. But I always understand that there's an industry impact that you want to have at the end of the day. And there sometimes can be a little bit of a gap when you interact with, we'll say, academics, but I want to say that in a very positive way now, because look, we and I have worked in this area for a number of years. We have a number of processes that are able to, we'll say, catalog the research knowledge and be able to understand your business target and be able to combine this to ensure that there is an outcome that has an impact for your business. And again, what I'm going to move on to soon enough is about how we support that, because there is an element available from Enterprise Ireland for every limited company in Laois. And that is a thing called an innovation voucher. This is €5,000 that's available to you. And if you win the grant of €5,000, which is a fairly simple application form, actually, in fairness to Enterprise Ireland, they've really streamlined this. Very simple application, takes about 3 weeks to get a response. Once you get the €5,000, you can interact here with me and the team here in the TSSG. And what we will do with this first voucher is to look at whether you are thinking about an existing product and that you want to think about the strategy of where you want to go with that existing project, and particularly about the technology. That'll bring you down, if you look at the slide down the left-hand side, where we look at the network or the AR/VR strategy or the data strategy, the IoT strategy, whatever the technology may be. Or you may be thinking of a brand new product for your company. And in this case, we can bring you through what we call a sprint. And I'll give you a little bit more detail on this in a second, but a sprint is really trying to identify the customer needs, the customer pain and gains to the technology that you're looking to bring. And again, we can bring a number of researchers through to try and help you look at what are the data needs, the IoT needs, how you deploy this on the cloud, and especially how the user interface and the user design. We usually find that this is quite important in and around this particular topic, looking at how the user acts and interacts with your system and how they react to the output that it's giving. Again, for us, what we will give you through this is strategic recommendations. And what I mean by this is we're not held against one specific cloud vendor. And I will name them at the moment, which means that doesn't mean I'm completely endorsing them, although they're all brilliant. But just to say, there's Amazon Web Services out there, there's Microsoft Azure, there's Google Compute. There's also many cloud storage systems available from Irish companies as well. And what we'll offer is give you insights to a number of them to see which ones would be most appropriate for the types of technology project that you're bringing to bear to the market, and to give you a genuine assessment as to what could work best for you. Okay, so that's Innovation Voucher 1, €5,000, get to interact with the team. As it so happens, you can also gain access to a second voucher, the Voucher 2. This is again €5,000. And through this voucher, what you can do is get some more targeted research, a deep dive into the recommendations of the Voucher 1, and very much look at the technology roadmap. And what I talk about here is essentially the architecture of how you would build out your technology, how it is that you could build it out and essentially get a quote for the work in some way, shape or form. Thinking again about an architect for a building, before you give it to a builder, you want to have it well spec'd out as best you can to know how much it would cost in the longer run. And this is what we can help you with Voucher 2. Voucher 3, again, available from Enterprise Ireland. Now this Voucher 3, which is the final voucher in the program that's available, is a €10,000 voucher, but very much 5,000 comes from Enterprise Ireland, and you as a company have to add the other €5,000. And this is where we can start to get some meat on the bone. This is where we can start to implement a demonstration. We can look at a click-through prototype for your work and really get a sense of how your new product and new service could be digitally delivered to your customers, and even allow them to minimally interact with this type of system. Okay, So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you through a little overview of what it would mean to do one of these interactions with the TSSG. What would be a product innovation sprint? So what would it take? So the first thing is, and you'll get my contact details, and I know we have a meeting room afterwards, but first thing is for us to have a chat. Discuss your expectations, potentially where your business is going, where it's been before, where it's going in the future, and to see which gateway is actually suitable for your work. Is it the TSSG? Is it the command center in Athlone? Is it Nimbus? Is it WISAR? Is it IMAR? Is it one of the other ones that are appropriate? So we'll host that discussion and have a chat about it. And if we can agree that it is a part of the TSSG work, what we'll do is we'll agree the objectives that you want to achieve. What, in general terms, would you like to see come out of our interaction? We put a contract in place. There is VAT that has to be paid on these innovation vouchers, always has to be paid up front, but it's the only thing that has to be paid in regards to the innovation vouchers. So step one is problem discovery. This is where we help you either undertake the client interviews, or you've already done client interviews. These are potential clients of the product that you want to use. And what we try and do is build what's called a problem canvas. What are the pains that your clients currently have? What issues do they currently have with either a manual process or a manual service that they undertake, and now they're going to bring it into software, they're going to apply it on the cloud, but what are their current pains? And then if they were to build and have your system, what would their gains be? What would increase their innovation having used your product in some way, shape, or form? So we build out a problem canvas. Our second step, after a week or so of looking at the problem canvas, what we'll look at is the solution discovery. We'll do some market research, as in for products and technologies that are potentially out there that do slightly similar or exactly similar types of things. We'll look to see what individual tools, if you were to combine them, would help deliver on the solution space. We'll look at state-of-the-art research and give you some pointers towards that. And obviously, it's always a two-way conversation. We brainstorm and interact where your technology and software could go to deliver a solution. Okay, after a couple of weeks of doing that, what we now next look at is the solution elaboration. Very much storyboarding, user stories. How would your users, from the step one when they get to your digital service, how would they use it? How would they interact with it? And even if it's a machine-to-machine solution, so even if you're on a factory floor and you're moving data from one machine and another machine we still have to do out the storyboarding and seeing if it's taking again a more deeper dive technical assessment to see, is a solution feasible for where you want to deploy it? Again, even slightly looking at the types of costs to seeing how feasible it would be. Step 4 is where we start to prototype. This is where we really just do an early check to see, can we wireframe up this particular solution? Can we do some click-throughs? Again, can we even do the click-throughs so that you could go back to step 1 and the people that you've done your early client interviews with to ask them for feedback, ask them for solution feedback, ask them again for pain point feedback, but it gives you something quite tangible to be able to interact with your clients and customers. Step 5 is certainly to close out the first voucher. It's to look at the final report presentation and to outline what next steps there could be for you and your business. Some next steps may be obvious ones to move the prototype towards something more technical. And there are other times where it makes better sense to do more marketing and branding and to reach out to more clients to get further information around the client interviews and the pain points. And so our final report will give you a roadmap as to what the next steps could or should be. And always recommended findings from us are genuine third party. You can see us as being an independent party working on your behalf to give you recommendations that will best suit your business. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a little sense of what it would be like to interact with us here in the TSSG. And just to kind of finally close out, this is a little overview of a case study that we've done, and particularly this is with Barry O'Sullivan out of Dragon's Den. So I would have worked with Barry a number of years ago when he was spinning out a company called Alto Cloud.
On the screen there.
And Joe Smith was his CTO at the time, and still working with Joe as it so happens. And they came to us with an idea to engage with customers online using real-time web communications. They had a good sense of where they wanted to go, but again, they just wanted to go through this technical discovery and elaboration work with us here at the TSSG. And that's what we did. Over 2 innovation vouchers, we got to a point where we were able to do some very early prototyping with some customers in the US of A. And of course, Barry and Joe were able to run with that. They were able to gain investment in and around that type of prototype. And we moved to a thing called an innovation partnership, which means that we're able to build out some bigger tech, again, supported by Enterprise Ireland. And as it so happens, Alto Cloud was acquired by Genesys in 2018 in Galway. And the core engine from Alto Cloud that came from that 2013, 2014 interactions is now the Genesys Predictive Engagement Program. It's a cloud-based platform, and it helps with customer engagements when they want to analyze visitors and their behaviors into e-commerce websites. And it's been able to predict outcomes from visitors trying to achieve and personalize their engagements through the website. Now, again, in truth, Barry and Joe would have done tons and tons of work to build out that company, but the seed to help them get started and get some of the prototypes was going through the program that I've just highlighted there. And this is available to you here in Laois. I'm always available to have a chat with you, to be able to see if we can work with you on a similar journey. Okay, Bernie, I'm coming to a close to this particular slide set. I'm going to leave you with my contact details, and of course I'll be available later on in the platform that we're using to interconnect. So, Bernie.
Thanks very much, Miguel. That was really insightful, and for viewers watching, it really gives an insight into what you can do to help companies if they have an innovative product and they don't know where to go. I know I've already actually referred somebody to yourself. He has an idea, it's in the ICT space, and he's delighted to be able to speak to somebody that knows where the route he needs to go. So really, for anybody listening, I really encourage you to follow up.